fog, he swam to my boat. I took him there.
The most epic and rugged adventure movies of the 1950s. The Vikings from 1958 isn't just a sword-swinging action movie. It's packed with behind-the-scenes drama, wild production stories, and details that even hardcore classic movie fans often miss. Starring Kirk Douglas, Tony Curtis, Janet Leigh, and Ernest Borgnine, this film helped define how Hollywood portrayed Vikings for decades. So grab your horn helmet, get comfortable, and let's jump into 20 hidden facts about the Vikings that you probably never knew. Fact 1: Kirk Douglas didn't just star in the movie, he controlled it. One of the biggest hidden facts about the Vikings is that Kirk Douglas wasn't just the leading man playing Einar, he was also the producer of the film. That gave him a huge amount of control over the project, from casting to locations to the final tone of the movie. Douglas wanted this film to feel raw, brutal, and larger than life, not like a clean studio fantasy. Because he was producing, he pushed for real locations, real ships, and real danger, which was rare at the time. His influence shaped everything from the aggressive fighting style to the dark, emotional edge of the story. Without Douglas in the producer's chair, the Vikings would have been a very different movie. Fact 2: Tony Curtis had to fight against his own image. By the late 1950s, Tony Curtis was known mostly as a handsome romantic lead and light comedy actor. When he was cast as Eric in the Vikings, many critics and even crew members doubted he could pull off a tough, heroic role. Curtis knew this and worked extremely hard to change his image. He trained intensely with swords, practiced physical combat, and altered his body language to appear more grounded and serious. He even adjusted his voice to sound rougher and less polished. This movie was a major step in proving that Tony Curtis could handle dramatic action roles, not just charming love stories. Fact 3: the movie was filmed in some of the harshest locations possible. Instead of filming everything on studio backlots, the production traveled to real Viking landscapes, including Norway, Brittany, in France, and parts of Germany. These locations were chosen for authenticity, but they came with brutal weather conditions. The cast and crew dealt with freezing winds, rough seas, and slippery cliffs. Several scenes were shot near actual fjord with icy water just below the actors. This harsh environment added realism, but also made filming dangerous and exhausting. The discomfort you see on screen is very real, especially during the longship and battle scenes. Fact 4: those Viking ships were not Hollywood fakes. The longships used in the Vikings were specially built to resemble real Viking ships based on historical research. These were not lightweight props or fake shells. They were massive, functional vessels that could actually sail. Because of this, the rowing scenes look incredibly realistic, but they were also physically brutal. The actors and extras had to row for long periods, often in cold water and rough conditions. This commitment to realism helped set a new standard for historical epics and influenced later films like Ben-Hur and Spartacus. Fact 5: Ernest Borgnine was chosen because he looked dangerous. Ernest Borgnine played Ragnar, the Viking leader, and Einar's father. At the time, Borgnine was often cast as tough, aggressive characters, and the filmmakers wanted someone who could look intimidating without saying a word. Borgnine's rough facial features, deep voice, and physical presence made him perfect for the role. What many people don't realize is that Borgnine was actually very friendly and humorous off-screen, which made the contrast between actor and character even stronger. His performance gave the film a sense of authority and menace that grounded the entire story. Fact 6: the eye patch wasn't just a costume choice. Kirk Douglas's iconic eye patch as Einar became one of the most memorable images from the movie. But it wasn't just for style. Douglas wanted Einar to appear scarred, both physically and emotionally. The eye patch symbolized lost rage and pride all at once. Douglas even adjusted his movements and posture to emphasize his blindness on one side. This small detail added depth to the character and influenced how later films portrayed injured warriors as symbols of strength rather than weakness. Fact 7: the Falcon scene was extremely risky. One of the most famous moments in the Vikings is the scene where a falcon attacks a character's eye. What many viewers don't know is that real trained birds were used, and the scene was incredibly dangerous. Animal trainers were present at all times, but even with training, there was real risk. The actors had to remain calm, while a large bird flew directly toward their faces. Special camera angles helped reduce danger, but the tension you see on screen wasn't just acting. Everyone involved knew one mistake could cause serious injury. Fact 8: the film helped define Viking stereotypes. The Vikings played a huge role in shaping how pop culture views Vikings, even today. The imagery of horned helmets, roaring warriors, and brutal rituals became standard largely because of this movie. Ironically, historians now know that Vikings didn't actually wear horned helmets in battle, but the visual was so striking that it stuck. The film leaned heavily into myth and legend rather than strict accuracy, and that choice influenced decades of movies, TV shows, and even comic books. Fact 9: Janet Leigh brought emotional balance to the film. Janet Leigh played Morgana, and her role was essential in balancing the movie's intense masculinity. While The Vikings is filled with violence and rivalry, Leigh's performance added emotional depth and vulnerability. She wasn't just a love interest, she represented loyalty, compassion, and inner conflict. Leigh worked carefully to avoid making Morgana feel weak or passive, which was common for female roles at the time. Her performance gave the story emotional stakes beyond revenge and power. Fact 10: the movie was shockingly violent for its time. For a 1958 film, The Vikings was considered extremely violent. Sword fights, executions, and brutal raids were shown in ways audiences weren't used to seeing. While there's no blood by modern standards, the physical aggression was intense. The filmmakers pushed against the boundaries of what was acceptable under the production code. This boldness helped pave the way for more graphic historical epics in the 1960s and beyond. Fact 11: Kirk Douglas and Tony Curtis had real tension. While they respected each other professionally, Kirk Douglas and Tony Curtis reportedly had real tension on set. Douglas was already a major star and producer, while Curtis was fighting to prove himself. This rivalry actually worked in the film's favor. The tension between Einar and Eric feels authentic because some of that conflict existed off-screen. Their competitive energy made the final confrontations more powerful and believable. Fact 12: the sound design was revolutionary. The sound of clashing swords, creaking ships, and roaring seas in The Vikings was groundbreaking for its time. The filmmakers used layered sound effects to create a sense of scale and danger. Instead of relying on music alone, they let silence and natural noise build tension. This approach made the world feel alive and immersive and influenced later adventure films that emphasized realistic soundscapes. Fact 13: the movie was a box office success worldwide. Despite mixed critical reviews, The Vikings was a major box office hit. Audiences around the world were drawn to its action, spectacle, and star power. The film performed especially well in Europe, where Viking history resonated strongly. Its success proved that historical adventure films could attract global audiences and justified bigger budgets for similar projects in the future. Fact 14: the score added to the mythic feel. Composer Mario Nascimbene created a score that blended traditional orchestral music with unusual instruments and rhythms. This gave the film a mythic, ancient feel rather than a polished Hollywood sound. The music emphasized danger, honor, and fate, helping elevate the story into legend. Many later films about ancient cultures borrowed this approach to music. Fact 15: the final duel was physically exhausting. The climactic duel between Einar and Eric was shot over several days and required intense physical effort. Both Douglas and Curtis performed much of their own fighting. The swords were heavy and the armor restricted movement. By the end of filming, both actors were bruised and exhausted. The realism of the fight comes from genuine physical strain rather than camera tricks. Fact 16: the movie influenced future sword and sandal films. The Vikings helped revive interest in epic historical adventures during the late 1950s. Its success influenced films like Spartacus, El Cid, and Cleopatra. Studios realized audiences wanted grand stories with flawed heroes and intense action. The film proved that history mixed with drama could be commercially successful. Fact 17, many extras were local fishermen and sailors. To add realism, the production hired local fishermen, sailors, and laborers as extras. These men were already comfortable with boats, ropes, and rough conditions. Their natural movements added authenticity to the background scenes, especially during raids and sea travel. This choice saved time and made the Viking world feel lived in rather than staged. Fact 18, the movie was shot in Technorama. The Vikings was filmed using Technorama, which allowed for widescreen visuals with incredible detail. This format made landscapes look massive and gave battle scenes a sense of scale. Watching the film in its original format was a stunning experience in theaters and helped set it apart from smaller productions of the time. Fact 19, the story emphasizes fate over morality. Unlike many Hollywood films of the era, The Vikings doesn't clearly define heroes and villains. Instead, it focuses on fate, destiny, and personal honor. Characters make terrible choices, but are driven by culture and circumstance. This moral ambiguity made the film feel darker and more mature than typical adventure movies of the 1950s. Fact 20, the Vikings left a lasting cultural legacy. Decades after its release, The Vikings continues to influence how stories about Norse warriors are told. From movies to TV shows to video games, its DNA is everywhere. The film helps cement the image of Vikings as fierce, tragic, and larger than life. Even modern audiences can feel its impact, proving that this 1958 epic still matters today. And there you have it, 20 hidden facts about the Vikings from 1958. A movie that wasn't just about swords and ships, but about rivalry, fate, and legacy. If you enjoy classic films, behind-the-scenes stories, and deep dives into movie history, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and let me know in the comments which classic movie you want next. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.